Now I know this is some weird video for me to make, but this is one of those videos where this is something that we can reflect on what happened 5 years ago. So, on this day 5 years ago, on October 29th, 2012, New York City, especially Staten Island, suffered a really horrible storm they call Superstorm Sandy, or just Hurricane Sandy. It was a Category 3 or Category 4 hurricane. It's one of those two categories. And it made lands. Well, I shouldn't say land, but it arrived around our area on the East Coast around 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, going to evening, and it's funny because at that point I was my story of it was like I was just having fun playing video games, right? And then I was playing, I think it was Resident Evil Dark Chronicles. I think it's what it's called. And as I got to the second level, and the hurricane arrived, when it did, it was there was like leaves coming down, but the tree wasn't falling, and then the power was cut. The power went out, and we got so scared. We were in the basement too. So what happened was we got up, we took our laptops because we were low on battery. At that point, I didn't have a phone, but I had a Windows 7 computer. I didn't have any smartphone or any type of phone. All I had was my iPad, the very first iPad, and my computer. So what happened was we went out, and we went to some place, a bar, my dad's bar, and then we were charging our things there, and at that point it was around 7 o'clock, and it's gotten really dangerous, and I was offered to go to my uncle's house. So I went to my uncle's house, having a good time, and the power went out there, and the power kept coming back on and off and on and off, and that was it. So then afterwards, it was around 9 o'clock at night. The winds were like, it sounded like this. Something like that, you know what I mean? And so, but while that was going on for my life, it's what's going on outside of my life. We're talking about like Newdor Beach that happened. There was like, it was so chaotic. The homes were destroyed. That area was just destroyed, and you can even look at the Lower Manhattan. Lower Manhattan got flooded. Powers were going off. The entire 5 boroughs were just blackout, and it was horrible. There were deaths. I don't know how much, but I imagine it was a very small amount, with a lot of injuries. And the most insane part is 5 years later, homes are still. Everyone in this, especially in Staten Island, are still recovering from this tragic hurricane. And it's funny. I was wearing a black shirt, just having a normal day until 2 o'clock, where the power went out, and basically a survival of the fittest for me. And this is something that and then if you had those moments where like you're at home just doing absolutely nothing for a week without power, and this is true when I'm saying I had no power. Well, this house had no power for a week. I'm talking about 7 days, and I was only 13. I was only 13 when this happened, so I don't really remember a lot of it, but that's when I met one of my friends. Well, it was a month after I met one of my good friends from Kansas City. You should go subscribe to him. He hasn't made a video in a year, but you should go subscribe to it. It's GamerBoy9800. Shout out to you, dude. Well, and he was watching the news about Hurricane Sandy, and I imagine they were all thinking about us. Meanwhile, we have no power. So you could ask him about it. So, yeah. So that's it, folks. That's all I want to talk about. I just want to reflect on what happened 5 years ago and how 5 years later they're still recovering from this hurricane. So they made good progress. I'll tell you that they made good progress, especially in the New Dorp area. But it's still a little bit more work, but it's getting there. Well, thank you guys for your time for this video on what happened with New York City and what I did during the hurricane day. So, yeah, Hurricane Sandy, screw you. You took the week out of my life with no power. And I hope you never come back. It's not just Sandy, also forgettable for Hurricane Harvey, Irma, and Maria. And shout out to you, Puerto Rico folks. You can do this. You guys are strong. We're donating as much. Be safe, guys. You guys are amazing. And screw you, Hurricane Irma, and Maria, and Sandy, and Harvey. All right, that's it, folks. This is James, and I'll see you tomorrow for week 4 recap. Goodbye.